Welcome back to Blue's Garden. I want to talk about how I prepare my soil kit to get the best possible harvest out of my grow bags. As you can see, I've got dozens and dozens, a little over 100, everything growing from tomatoes and cukes to squash and onions and carrots. This is what it looked like a month ago. Then it snowed unexpectedly. Just came in one day, a couple of inches, and then gone the next. There's the garlic underneath the snow. So my basic formula is 1/3 peat, 1/3 soil, and 1/3 compost. You can start from all bagged or not. I mix it all up. I happen to use the leftover soil from my grow bags last year as the 1/3 soil. For almost everything, I take a handful of some worm castings for every 2 bags, and also a handful of Dr. Earth's granular for every 2 bags. Sometimes I rather use Espoma granular tomato tone, about 1 handful for every 2 bags. It's granular, so it needs a couple of weeks to almost a month in the soil to be readily available for plants. So this happens a good solid month beforehand. I mix it all up thoroughly. Then I will put it into each of the individual grow bags. Now, personally, I rather reuse the soil from last year and refresh it every year, which is what you see here. Occasionally, I will add some new, and that's fine too. 1/3 peat, 1/3 compost, 1/3 soil from last year's. And for tomato, I add tomato tone and some worm castings. About a half a handful for each bag. That's a 7-gallon grow bag for tomatoes. For squash and zucchinis, a 10-gallon bag. Very similar, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, plus a little more than a half a handful in each. Don't forget, the last thing I do is I will then go ahead and sort of scratch it in the surface a little. I don't really dig it up too much. And if need be, I will sometimes add a little extra soil just to get that much more. That's tomatoes, squash, zucchini. For my potatoes, I add extra bone meal, which need extra potassium. Again, half a handful of Dr. Earth's, almost a full handful. Remember, grow bags, they're very porous, so you may have to do this every month, once a month, add some more fertilizer. Just plan it out because the water will wash away the nutrients. So every 4 weeks or so, add another half a handful. To top off my potatoes, I actually do put a little straw on to cover them. I don't really have too much else growing except for some broccoli and some lettuce. Water all of the fertilizer thoroughly. Since I'm using last year's grow bags, there is already some soil biology in there, and that will help break down the granular stuff. I'm going to talk about fertilizer, granular versus the liquid. I use organic granular fertilizers, but it needs a couple of weeks to perhaps even as much as 8 weeks for soil biology to break it down. So you need to plan for that. Put it in early. Liquid fertilizers are immediately available to the plants. For me specifically, things like tubers need more potassium and calcium than they do nitrogen. Potato, garlic, onion all get bone meal and Dr. Earth's granular. Carrot, similar bone meal and some tomato tone. Brussels sprouts get tomato tone, worm castings. Peas, tomato tone. Squash and tomatoes, tomato tones and some worm castings. Cucumbers, similar. Lettuce needs a little more nitrogen. That's why it also gets blood meal and similar with any of my herbs. Please share this video, it really helps. Thanks, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Blues Garden tips.